Episode 226 starts now. What is happening, TwT fans? It is so good to be back on this August 1st, 2024. And again, I'm so glad to see so many of you coming back for more. I want to start off the way I always do by saying thank you. Thank you for subscribing to the channel and helping me share this thing. It truly does help. If you're stopping by for the very first time and checking out the podcast, or maybe you got sent the link tree and now you're here, click that subscribe button, everybody. All right. It's the most important thing you can do for the podcast. It keeps me coming back week after week, and it's free for you. So why not do it? Click that subscribe button. And then, of course, if you want your opportunity to be a guest or tell your story, talkinwithtopher@gmail.com is the official email of the podcast. Just send an audio, video, or type it out, but you got to send it over to talkinwithtopher@gmail.com. And then, of course, don't forget about the link tree. It's in the description below the link, along with all the links that you can follow along and check into yourself during any episode. But go into the description, click that link. It'll give you access to everything TwT. It's just that easy, and now it's just that easy to share it with everybody. Copy the link and go ahead. Share this thing with everybody you know, and hopefully they like it as much as you do. And now with all that out of the way, what is happening, everybody? It has been... well, it's been a crazy time, hasn't it? We've seen a presidential candidate and previous president get shot at. We now have so much information on what's going on. People are still, you know what my favorite part is that Navy SEALs are digging into the sniper situation. There's just so much going on. We've seen so much in the last couple weeks, and Biden dropping out, Kamala becoming the Democratic candidates. This is a very interesting time right now. Possibilities of Biden being dead, and so crazy. But I guess everybody out there wanted some more. I don't know. You wanted some more conspiratorial thoughts on Trump. And I do have a lot of them. There are a lot of people out there today that are really digging into this. You have actual Navy SEALs and people who have been snipers and people who have been in very high-risk situations where you have a target or you have someone to protect, and you have to manage everything around you, plus the situation. And what I've noticed so far is that they seem to be digging into everything that went wrong. Look, there's a ton of things going on. I will, towards the end of all this, tell you what I think my theory is. But there is a lot of information on the shooting and stuff. So I have a couple pictures that I wanted to put up real quick. The first one I want to share, and I think we got some videos and stuff. I'm a little tired this morning, but I got to get this in and out, or I won't be able to record this. It's been tough, guys. It's been tough. Keeping this thing going is a monster, but I'm so glad you're all here with me. So my first picture right here, as you can see, as I zoom in a little bit, you can see the tilting of the head. So if he had stayed facing this way in the crowd, he would have been dead. But because he has this tendency to turn his head away from the crowd and look around is what saved his life. And to put this to rest right now for everybody, They did do the ballistics and look at his ear and go through everything, and it has been deemed that he was shot. A bullet is what grazed his ear and is what caused the bleeding, and that is what caused the cut on his ear. It was verified July 26th at 7 p.m. is when I read it. I've just been notating the things as they're happening because I believe dates and times are important so that we can always look back on them and investigate a little bit more. But it has been deemed that a bullet is what cut Trump's ear. And you can see, you could see from that picture that it's definitely, it was, I mean, a split second, turning in the wrong direction, I mean, could have ended everything, which I don't believe, and I'll put it out there right now, is that I do not believe that this was done to manipulate the election at this point. I think there was something deeper than that involved in this. So I'm going to play this video here because it gives you a little bit more of that frontal view of how close he really came to having the bullet kill him. So you can see that's how he's facing, and this is what he does when he's talking. So he's facing the audience, and then he turns. Boom. And that's that split second. Now, there are a few things that should be mentioned about the shooter in general. I guess he tried to join the rifle club, and he was a little weird, awkward, however you want to put it. But everybody in the rifle class said that he was absolutely the worst shot. So it brings up questions about whether or not he was even capable of pulling off a 130-yard shot, which we all can agree on that is a very easy shot to make. Right? It's 130 yards with a scope, not a difficult target. Breathe, steady, pull, done. I've definitely hit targets 130 yards out. It's not difficult with a rifle, especially with a scope. It's just not. It's not a difficult shot. But the problem is there's just so much information on this Crook kid that he just wasn't a good shot. So, was he trying to prove himself? Did he think that if he could pull this off, he could prove to all of his colleagues, or fellow students, see, look, I can make a shot. And there could have been a little bit of that in there. There's a lot more to this. So things like this keep popping up. The sniper was already watching the shooter. Why didn't he shoot first? So we're seeing all these other videos come out from people's phones with the sniper on the building to protect the president, and yet they didn't take a shot. And they're also saying that there have been multiple videos that have come out about multiple areas where snipers could be. There is talk about 10 shots, not 9. Where did the 10th shot come from? How about the video of when it all starts happening, right? They're watching Trump. Trump is speaking. This is before the gunshots ring out, right? You're looking at the video. You see a woman down in the corner behind Trump. She is the only one that is looking over at the rooftop. She hard swallows, sits down, turns and faces Trump, and just before the gunshots ring off, you see a Joe Biden sign go up in front of her face. It goes down. She turns and looks at the rooftop again, and then turns back. And just as the gunfire starts, She pulls out the phone, starts recording. Now there's gunshots going off, chaos everywhere. She is stone cold, she's kind of ducking and stuff, but she's got the phone out the entire time. And yet we haven't seen that footage yet, which is very interesting. I guess she was some FBI director. I'm not sure if I don't think it's the one that was on the stand. I think that was somebody different. That got torn apart for 6 hours and was called a failure at her job. That woman, I don't know her name, but what have heard, and possibly could be true, is that she worked for Pepsi. She worked for Pepsi, and then one of her, I think it was a friend, her friend's husband works for Joe Biden's cabinet, right? I might have this a little wrong, but I know there's some facts in here. So when the position opened for this detail or this position in the FBI or Secret Service, I don't remember which one it is. Does it really matter? They're all like the same anyways. But so her name was mentioned. They needed to fill a spot because this guy was in Joe Biden's cabinet. He put in a good word for her. She became the new director of the FBI. And the only thing I can say to that is, what? How does somebody who works for Pepsi, right? Because I know a couple people that work for Coke. Those people, I'm not saying are not, intelligent or whatever. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is she worked for Pepsi. You got her running an organization that's meant to protect people. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. She was not qualified for the position, so how did you hire her for the position, right? It's because somebody knew somebody owed somebody a favor, and maybe there was a donation involved, and, hey, I'll donate these. I'll even match what I just gave you if you just give her a job to make my wife happy. So she was not qualified for that position. Now, if it was the same woman that got torn apart on the stand, sorry, I don't remember your name, but, you were a failure at your job at the least, because this could go so much deeper, right? Why are we looking for 10 shots? Why are they telling us it's only 9? Where was the other snipers? Why is it all of a sudden now we are hearing that there was a tree that the sniper had to shoot through to get to Trump, and the tree was blocking the snipers from getting the sniper? I haven't seen a tree yet, but yet this keeps popping up. There was a tree. Where was the tree? There was no tree. That was a clear view. I've seen the Google map images, but yet somehow now, July 27th, there has been multiple pictures of the same rooftop with a tree in front of it, when for a week, there was no mention of a tree. And now, all of a sudden, we have an obstacle in our way. Doesn't that sound convenient, right? Well, I didn't shoot because I had a tree in my way. What fucking tree are we talking about, everybody? Because there was no tree. There was no tree. So there was people that are in the military, whatever they were doing, and they have gone through and they have deciphered some of the pictures to see where some of the other shots could have come from. Because I've watched some videos now on them replicating the timing, the shots, the distance, and how quickly everything happened. And they cannot. These are professionals, right, that know how to set up a perimeter and protect somebody or take out a target, and they know what's going on. They know where people should be set up when they're getting ready to pull off a mission, let's say. And They deciphered so many different pictures and angles that have been coming in from phones and everything else that's been coming in today with involved in this. And it's crazy that, you know, these guys are the only ones trying to tell us the truth. It's sad in a sense because the government is covering themselves, right? They're covering themselves. This was an attempt to make it so that AR-15s could be deemed illegal weapons. That's where we're at. That's where we're at. Look, I know this is a tired argument. Oh, they're always trying to take your guns, aren't they? Yes. Yes, they have been for a long time. They don't like that part of the Constitution. They don't like the fact that we can stand up and stop our government. They don't like the fact that we can protect ourselves from our government if our government turns on us. Yes, of course this is a tired argument because they have been trying to do this forever. They're going to continue doing it until they get the job done. And as long as we have more and more people doing school shootings and shooting each other on the streets and blowing up synagogues and doing all the things that are happening today, as long as all of those things are still happening, they're going to always be looking to take away our guns. Because why? Because people don't always know what they're doing, right? They don't always do the best things. And there is a lot of stuff going on today with people with hard drugs, having no money, and just trying to make it through a day today in America as well as everywhere around the world. It's not easy. It's not easy, and people are tired, and they're not getting any help, and they feel hopeless. And when all of those things combine together, you get unstable citizens. And when you have unstable citizens that have access to guns, because there are more guns in America than anything else, you're going to wind up with an issue. You're going to wind up with random shootings because people cannot handle the day-to-day anymore. And unfortunately, it seems like this is happening so much. There was two 14-year-olds, not to digress too much, but there was two 14-year-olds in Boston who robbed a fucking 9-year-old at gunpoint and stole his cell phone. I'm so glad it ended that way because that hasn't been the story in Boston recently. It's just people shooting each other because they don't have and they want. It's what made us. It's this corporate industry, this consumer industry that we are in. Having the thing is more important than human life now. And I think that happened a long time ago, but it's more prevalent today than it ever has been. This gentleman here is talking about the different positions and the capabilities of different snipers. So right here, and I do find this interesting because these people, you know, like I said, they don't have to do this stuff, but they do. And it's very interesting. So
I've received a picture of another sniper from a totally different location than what we're aware of at the Trump assassination attempt.
And the only thing that I want to question, and because it's because I always want to be questioning everything. It's not that I want to believe that this is true. It's not that I don't want to believe that this is true. It's that I want to question it all, right? Where did this picture come from? Who is this sniper? Can you make this up in a video game today? Answer me this, right? I'm old. I'm decrepit. I'm 45, whatever. Almost. When I played video games, we always wanted it to look like it did on the box. We wanted the graphics to look like it was drawn up. We wanted to look real. It did not. It looked fake as fuck, right? Today, it's a completely different story. You got the real engine, and I've seen the games today. They are incredible. Now, I'm not saying because this photo does look authentic. but it only looks authentic on my television, okay? I don't know. I didn't look into this. I haven't seen this photo personally. So is it possible today, right, with AI, with the generation of making movies, with the information that it has, and with the capability of the video game industry the way it is today? I know there's a lot of you out there that are, programming and playing with computers and, I guess you're into coding and stuff like that. There's a lot more of you out there today because video games and computer development is actually encouraged. When I was a child and I was growing up, it was a joke. You were a loser. There was not an industry for it. It's the complete opposite today. It's a giant industry and people make shit tons of money from it. Is it possible to generate this? Is it possible that I could tell ChatGPT that I want to make this picture and it makes this picture for me today? Is it possible that I could tell AI or chat, hey, put a tree in front of that shooter, in front of that building. I need a tree right in this spot right here in a photograph. Is it possible that you could tell it to take the tree out? I don't think, the news took the tree out, right? Because we saw the footage from the news. I watched the shooting live as it happened. I don't know how I'm always watching Channel 9 at the exact time that the Capitol riot happened, at the Trump shooting happened. But for some weird reason, I had my TV on at the moment it actually happened. I was watching the rally. There was no tree, but now there's a tree. So I'm not saying that these things didn't happen or this sniper isn't real, but is it possible that it could have been generated today? Right? I don't know, but let's listen to at least 2 minutes of this and see where he goes with it, because it is very interesting. So let's check it out.
Nest, if you want to call it that. You know that we had talked before about how there were 2 spots behind Trump where there were snipers. Now, granted, unofficially, now we're finding out that there were a group of snipers in the window behind where Crooks was supposed to be. If you guys will remember, before that news came out, I had a guest on here last week, and we said, before anybody else talked about it, that that window was open. Then they told us that after saying that nobody was there and nobody was in the building, then they came out and said, yeah, we had a sniper team in there. So now come to find out, instead of the sniper team just being in the building, we were right about the window. They were literally in that window that we pointed out. So unofficially, we have a sniper team there. We have 2 guys positioned behind Trump, and now we have a 4th position. Look at this shot right here, man. You see, this is something I pulled off the internet. This is not some covert stuff, but it's not being talked about. And I was like, you know what? We're sitting here talking to Christopher Wray of the FBI, who's in charge of the investigation. We've already talked to the former Secret Service director, who's gone now. And everybody keeps saying the same thing. Crooks fired 8 shots. Now, we'll get into the semantics of that later on, because Martin's in his name, and myself, before that sniper supposedly took Crooks out. Now, the whole reason why this is interesting to me, trigger was pulled till the time that that Secret Service agent allegedly shot that 10th shot. Again, they're calling it the 9th shot. 16 seconds. 16 seconds passed. And from the time of our last shot, allegedly from Crooks, there was a 10-second delay before that sniper supposedly took Crooks out. Now, the whole reason why this is interesting to me, in order to identify this additional sniper nest, again, I'm using kind of hokey language here, but the additional sniper location, besides the one behind Crooks, that's unofficial. So if you look at what I'm looking at here, we obviously have a firearm aimed in that direction. This actually looks like it may have a carbon fiber barrel on it. Obviously, it has what appears to be a laser on there that's going to, or at least an infrared, that's going to mark a spot. But you can see in front of us the white building, past that where it says police on roof, and to the far left you can see the building that Crooks was allegedly on. So I took recognizable things in this picture and I went to Google Earth, old reliable Google Earth. So looking out here, I see the things that I kind of saw in the picture, right? You got, of course, your water tower up there at the upper right-hand corner. You've got the roof that Crooks was on, and then you have the white roof of the barn that one of these sniper teams was located on behind Trump. But what other things can we take from that picture? Well, we see white roof buildings all over here. One of the things that I did notice that to me stood out that might be more like a fingerprint, look in front of the shooter, directly in front of him, not the tractor, but look at the sand on the ground. Looks like a pretty good bit of sand, right? That might be a noticeable amount of sand if we look at it from high above, at least from a satellite view. Look down here. Where do you see a bunch of sand? I see a lot of sand, kinda, I guess that's a horse track to the far right, but I see a bunch of it right down here in the bottom left-hand corner. Let's go back to the main picture and look and see. All right, so what's the closest thing that I see to that sand? I see that building right in front of us. Okay, I see a bunch of sand right here, and I see two buildings right in front of that sand. If I look a little bit closer, this does appear to be the building, right? Look at the doors on the far left. If you see there's a gray door on the short wall on the far left, well, there's also one here. As far as counting windows, well, we've got how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 windows with the door kind of in the center of them. I can't see all the windows because there's a white van in the way, but boy, those 3 windows to the far left, excuse me, to the right of that door certainly look like these 3 windows to the right. So if you see what I'm talking about, I think we have our building, right? So let's go to the next slide. And of course, there's the building that the Crooks shooter and supposedly the other snipers that are unofficial were in that building. If I back up where I line everything up, okay, there's everything that I saw in the picture. Everything lines up perfectly in front of us, so I'm pretty sure that that is where our additional sniper is. Now again, you guys might be asking, why does that matter? Well, it matters. Again, first of all, I think we have unaccounted for shots in the 8 that they claim that Crook shot, right? I don't believe those were all from him. I simply don't. They honestly sound like they may be from the same type of rifle, but between the muffled noise of the first 3 and then the sound of the next 5, I do believe those first 3 potentially came from inside that building because of the muffled noise and the lack of the echo that you don't hear in some of them. Now, granted, we've been listening to audio from 5 different locations so far. The official mic right in front of Trump, and then additional mics from people all over the place. So some cases you're going to get a different sound because of the different proximity of the snap boom. So I'm
going to stop it right there. This, like I said, this thing is 13 minutes long. Hopefully I picked out enough to show you what people are actually looking into with all of this going on. And it is very concerning because if you listen to the videos, you listen to the sounds, you hear all these things that they're speaking of. And when you're understanding somebody that's at this professional level of what they're listening for, it allows you to hear what they're talking about, and it does kind of change the narrative because this was all a way to take away your guns. Hey, fashion lovers, are you ready to make a statement? Here at Slowdown Clothing, your ultimate destination for tattooed-inspired prints and vibrant colors that'll turn heads wherever you go. Imagine stepping out in style with our eye-catching t-shirts, perfect for making every day feel like a runway. And it doesn't stop there. Our embroidered hats add that perfect finishing touch to your look. Back to school season is just around the corner, and we've got a fantastic selection of kids' tees that will have your little ones looking sharp and feeling comfy. Still planning on soaking up the sun? Don't worry, Slowdown Clothing has you covered with our range of beach towels and swimwear. Enjoy those sizzling sunny days in style. So why wait? Head over to slowdownclothing.bigcartel.com talkinwithtopher.com and explore the incredible collection today. And here's the best part. When you fill up your cart with all those amazing items, don't forget to use promo code TOPHER at checkout for a sweet 10% off your entire purchase. Slow Down Clothing, where fashion meets fun. Transform your wardrobe and make every day extraordinary. Remember, life is too short for boring clothes. Shop now and let your style shine. Visit slowdownclothing.bigcartel.com. Style awaits. I believe this was another way for them to deem AR-15s 100% illegal. Because if Trump had died and they killed the kid that they hired, right? Because this kid was hired. Let's be real about this. There is a picture of him with the BlackRock CEO with his arm around him. I'm sorry. I don't know about you, but I have never met a CEO. I don't know anybody that has met a CEO. And I'm not saying that like that's something, I don't know. It's not impressive. It's just that it's true. I don't believe this kid should have ever met, right? Because I believe BlackRock and the other three companies that all work together, that own almost everything, right? They are very evil companies. Each one of them owns a third of each other. So every single bit of money that these corporations make is all tied together within these three companies that own almost everything. Now, all three of these companies have the same thing in common. They're donators to the government. They're in the government, and they communicate with the government. Like, however you put it, it doesn't matter. I'm dumb, so I don't know how to put things. I don't speak very well. But the simple fact is that this kid was possibly hired by the government through BlackRock and those three other industries. They needed the pictures. They needed the things to be done. They needed the CEO to be there so that this kid's face would be the fall face. They probably encouraged this all being done. And this kid supposedly had more things in mind. But there's a few things that don't add up. He was a registered Republican. He did do some research on, he had pictures of Biden. He had pictures of Trump. He had a couple pictures of some other politicians. Why? Because they probably told him to do these things. And not specifically for the reason, but because they were like, yeah, we'll encourage you. Do this, this, and this, and this. It's not that they were like, you're doing this for a reason. They were just like, here's some homework, right? Go and search this. Go and search how far away Lee Harvey Oswald was from Kennedy. Go search these politicians and grab some pictures. Like, I believe it was like a homework assignment for him, so that he made the trail that they needed him to leave. That leads back to him being the guilty one. So if the government hired this guy, right, this crook kid, and then put him up to all of this, manipulated him into thinking he was doing homework instead of a laundry list for the FBI to follow, and can convict him of being guilty of an attempted assassination on the president, which, I mean, it's pretty true, right? But if he's a bad shot, he wasn't any good as a rifleman, and the kid really has no past. Here's another interesting fact. When they searched his house and they found the bomb in his car and they found all these things at his house, there were no fingerprints. The house was 1,000% wiped clean. It was sanitized. I don't know about you, but I don't think there's any spot in my house that doesn't have a fingerprint, dust, some remnants of people living in the house. This house was so clean, it was like nobody ever lived there. Who cleans a house that well? My mom cleans all the time. I'm jealous of how clean her house is, and dust-free, I should say. There's still fingerprints everywhere. There's fingerprints on the silverware. How did they not have fingerprints on the silverware? Right? How did this FBI woman not have the timeline when she's getting ripped apart? How is it that she's not answering any questions, basically, for 5 to 6 hours of being ripped apart? Because our government is covering up the fact that they hired a child or a 20-year-old. You hire him, you bring him in. The reason that the cops saw him on the roof and then they were, oh, I'm out of here. It wasn't because the kid pointed the gun at him and scared him and he ran for his life. It was set up. The Secret Service wasn't even there. I heard that most of the Secret Service wasn't even there because they deemed this a safe place. There was no threats. So Trump's Secret Service wasn't even there. This was Homeland Security, which Homeland Security isn't even made for this. This isn't something that they deal with. Crowd control and isolating a person of interest or protecting a person of interest from this. This isn't what they do. So supposedly, this wasn't even Secret Service. This was Homeland Security. But I believe that cop saw him and he goes, oh, shit, I forgot he was on the roof. I wasn't supposed to be up here. And he jumps down. Now, where the tree comes into all of this, I have no idea. So now you got the shooter hired by our government, distributed by BlackRock and the rest of them, solidified as the bad guy. He was allowed on that roof. I don't care what anybody says. With all this other stuff going on, all these other shooters, all these FBI, Homeland Security, local police, people, he's on the roof for 2-3 minutes before gunfire. He was allowed on that roof. He was allowed to be there. Everybody who was pointing it out, they were probably like, shit, shut up, quiet. And then you got the woman behind Trump taking the video, looking over, hard swallowing, sitting down, and then videotaping the whole thing. While she's looking back and then looking forward, while everybody else is scrambling, she's only sitting there. Doesn't this seem planned? Doesn't this seem orchestrated? I think so. And if Trump had died, they shoot the killer, and now AR-15s are deemed 100% illegal. Now, the only reason I think that this is a gun-related situation and not an attempt to manipulate the election is simply because the DOJ right now is also quadrupling down on medical marijuana licenses. If you have one, they're coming to take your guns. This is every single state across the country, because I do believe the DOJ is federal. So if they pass this and it goes through, now anybody who smokes marijuana with a medical marijuana card, which we all should have because we need to be able to travel with this shit state to state and not have it taken away from us, I'm in the middle of trying to get mine. So, shit. But if you smoke marijuana, now it is unsafe for you to have firearms. Actually, it's safer for all of us who smoke marijuana and don't drink to have firearms than people that just drink. I'm sorry, this is an ass-backwards world we live in, but they want to give us marijuana, right? They want to make us happy, so they'll give us marijuana. They'll federally legalize it, but the DOJ has to implement this first. If they implement this first, the feds, the government and the feds will legalize marijuana, and then everybody who gets a medical marijuana card, they're going to come knocking on your doors. It's written in law. You are not allowed to have any firearms because you are extremely dangerous because you smoke marijuana. So you can't have guns. This is all correlated. It's all the same thing. Because if they give us what we want, which a lot of us want marijuana to be legal today, and the only way for you to legally obtain it is to have a medical marijuana license or to at least not have it confiscated by the cops, because that's what they're going to do. They're going to pull you over, they're going to take your shit, and they're going to let you go if you don't have a medical marijuana license. So if they implement that, now they have another way to take away your guns. If they had this go their way, they would have been able to take away the AR-15s, which they are deeming one of the most dangerous weapons that we have. I mean, it's crazy to talk about it like this. No. I am so tired of people saying that it's the guns. It's not the guns, man. It's not. It's the people. It's the people that have the guns that are unstable, that are doing things, or it's somebody being hired to do something that they weren't good at. Why would they hire somebody that wasn't good at it? Well, because I also believe that somebody else was supposed to shoot Trump. Somebody else. They knew he was a bad shot. But they were like, okay, if we give him a chance and he misses, you know, we got something in mind. This was a very strategic plan, I think. This is my theory, to take away our guns. And I know, this is a very old, boring argument. You're coming to take my guns. Ah! Dig into this, everybody. It is something that I do believe has more going on than what they are telling us and what they are showing us. But at the end of the day, these are my thoughts on what I think is a possibility that could have happened. I'm hoping that I'm wrong. I'm always hoping I'm wrong, because if I'm right, man, they're never going to stop. They're never going to stop. They're going to find every way possible to try and de-arm us so that we can't fight back, so that the WHO can get its way with the medical industry, so that they can deem AR-15s and firearms in general illegal, something you can't have, and then they can implement the one world order, the one world currency, and everybody will have to follow the exact same shit. And you won't be able to say yes or no, or you won't be able to make your own decisions, because they will make them for you. They will put up 15-minute cities. You will live in them. You will have nothing, and you will be happy. So, again, I just want everybody to look into stuff. You know, I think that there is way more going on here than what they're telling us. Why so many snipers on buildings? Why people in windows that were so close to the actual shooter building? You know, keep looking into this. I know everybody else is going to, and I'm really just along for the ride today. It is a wild time. North Korea just finished their tactical nuclear missiles. So they are now fully equipped and ready to go. We keep fucking around with China, because China is surrounding Taiwan. There was a submarine that popped up in the middle saying, surprise, we're here, letting them know that we're here. And then there was something with a China nuclear fighter jet or something that intercepted a U.S. jet that was flying in China airspace. I don't know when it's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen. But I'm telling you right now, with everything jumping up, there is fear that I feel of an attack on the United States of America, but I don't think they will ever do it before the election. I hope I'm wrong, but I feel like something is going to happen after the election. Whether it happens because the wrong candidate gets voted in, or if it happens from another country, but our government is preparing for some type of attack on our land in the United States after the election. So that's why I say keep looking into this. We need more information. We have to understand what they are trying to do before it happens, because they're not going to tell us when it happens, everybody. They're not going to tell us. I'm not doing this because I only want to get to the truth. I'm also doing this because I need to protect myself, because they're not going to protect me. Sure. If we get fired on and whatever, they're going to retaliate. They're going to try and protect us. But at the end of the day, they're never going to tell us exactly when. Hell, they won't even tell us when it happens. But they'll have to say something if they have to retaliate and blow missiles out of the sky. At that point, it's too late for us. So I think looking into these things, questioning all this stuff, and understanding what's going on to an extent, I don't understand everything, but being prepared and worrying about the worst is what I do the best. So because of that, I need to know more, because if something is going to happen in this crazy fucking world we're in right now, I do believe there's enough tension for something to happen, and I want to be more prepared than my neighbor on how to deal with the situation at hand and what I should be doing to my home and my house and for my wife and for my dogs and to hopefully be able to survive some type of an attack. For fun, real quick, we did look up the Ivan bomb. It is the largest atomic hydrogen bomb that is out there. It's TAS or TSA, something like that. TASSA, something like that. And that we were looking it up because we were having this discussion yesterday, and we looked it up, and that bomb, if it hit Boston, it goes out 150 miles. There is destruction as wide as 150 miles. And when they dropped this bomb in 1961, it blew out windows and all kinds of stuff in Norway and Finland. And somebody or some people felt shock waves up to 170 miles away. It affected people. Absolutely devastated everything within 22 miles. And then it goes out 150, and it can be felt as far as 170. So I won't be podcasting because I am approximately, if I put it in the GPS, I think I'm 56 miles from the heart of Boston. So really kind of, I know it's sometimes scary and like whatever, but at the end of the day, having this information and understanding what could happen at worst case scenario, because we were talking about it and I'm like, no, what is the biggest, worst one? Let's go from there, because everything else is smaller, right? So if they don't have access to this one, and it was a Russian bomb, so Russia has access to this. How's that make you feel? Kind of makes you want to not be pushing Russia's buttons, is how it makes me feel. So, like I said, look into it, check it out, because you gotta do your due diligence and you got to protect yourself today, because they're not gonna do it for us. And with that all being said, everybody, I just want to say thank you as always. I appreciate you for subscribing and sharing and doing all the things. The comments, keep them coming. And I don't know, someday I'll have a guest again, but this was more fun for me today. I got a lot of comments. Why no conspiracy theories? Well, this is mine, okay? So I think this is what's afoot. It's not true. It's just my brain running through whatever I'm looking at and making up my own theory. So please understand that when watching and listening to this. Please don't take anything that I have said to heart or to be the truth. But the truth is out there, and we need to keep looking for it. And if you're new to the podcast, you're stopping by, checking it out, you need to subscribe. Hit that button. If you want to be on the podcast, talkinwithtopher@gmail.com. Send an audio, video, or type it out, but send your email over to the official email of the podcast, talkinwithtopher@gmail.com. And of course, don't forget about that Linktree link. It's in the description below the video. Click it. You'll get everything TWT. Go follow and subscribe. And then, of course, copy that link. Share it with everybody you know. And hopefully they like it as much as you do. And I hope everybody out there enjoys their Thursday. I hope you have an amazing weekend. And as always, I will talk to you later.